Yes, hello.
Yes.
Good evening,
Good evening.
gentlemen. How are you?
Doing good.
Good. Well, sweet Lord, listening to this program, there came up so many points and questions that I would have liked to discuss, but that's just too much. I have two main points. First point is, Alexander, you recently made a program where you discussed a possible coalition between Orban and Salvini and Poland, sort of to save Europe. And you talked about the chancellor of this republic, where most of the Alps are in, that he would probably join this coalition. You know who I'm talking about.
Yes.
And I have my doubts watching the history of this chancellor, who snubbed Orban several times, and is very much friends with the rich and famous Hungarian. You know whom I'm talking about.
Absolutely, yeah.
And also, I mean, he's, as far as I remember, you called him a more or less a Christian Democrat. Well, just recently he managed to blackmail the Catholic Church in Austria, to subdue them to his ways, and during his reign, he implemented abortion rights into law, and gay marriage into law, and pushed back family rights. So I don't see him at all. Right. And he himself said that he's not a conservative. He said that several times. He defended himself against criticism from outside, saying that he doesn't see himself as a conservative. So I'm very much in doubt if he will be willing to join a coalition.
Well, that's very interesting. Thank you. I mean, it sounds like Merkelism with Austrian characteristics.
Absolutely.
If I could say so. Well, thank you very much, because that is really useful. I mean, can I just ask, are you from Austria? You seem to be very well informed by about the situation there.
Well, I try to inform myself, but sometimes it is such a triste affair that it's becoming more and more difficult to listen to these people.
I can imagine.
And I mean, the extent of absurdness and stupidity of daily press conferences of these people is almost unsurmountable. And yes, but I live in Austria, and so I do not have very much hope about this. I sent Alex an email about this where I described all these things, and I was shocked this morning by your program about the Greens in Germany, which is my home country, that they have the possibility to win the elections. I mean, that would be a disaster for Germany. That would be absolutely terrible.
Indeed, their lead is growing, apparently. So you know, as the CSU, as the union fades, it seems that they are rising. And I, to be honest, I agree. I mean, I'm not by any means somebody who is hostile to ecological policies. I want to make that absolutely clear.
Neither am I.
But this is not ecological policies. This is utopianism of a very strange kind.
Well, we're going to land in eco-fascism.
Well, indeed.
It's going to be a disaster.
A disaster. I agree. I mean, I have to say, I mean, I think that they are absolutely not right for office or power in any conceivable shape or form.
I mean, this woman who is obviously going to lead the Greens. She's an absolute dreamer, and she's I mean, talking about education. I mean, she even how do you say that? She couldn't differentiate between cobalt and kobold, which is quite another thing. So they're absolutely clueless. These people.
Yes.
Anyway, yes, please.
No. I mean, absolutely, and I entirely agree with you about this. And I have to say, I find it extremely disturbing that we seem to be in this situation with the Greens rising. And again, I have to say, a testament, as far as I'm concerned, to the immense damage that Merkelism has done to Germany over the 16 years that she's been there. Because it seems to me that she has essentially weakened to the point of collapse the German political system. But I have my own particular views about Merkel, which are well known.
I have another question. It concerns the Cold War. First of all, what do those people who are waging warmongering, what do they hope to gain with that? I cannot understand that. To me it looks rather irrational.
Yes.
And I mean, does the ruling family now hope to gain anything in Ukraine again?
Well, I mean, you say that it looks irrational. It looks irrational because it is irrational. I mean, I at a fundamental level, not just a fundamental, an obvious level, war is something one should be working hard to try to avoid. And that means avoiding confrontation. It seems astonishing to me that there are people in the United States and in other countries, Britain, by the way, is even worse here, who are always looking for confrontation and who are always looking for opportunities to increase tensions, and who are prepared to, play these complex games of geopolitical chess with all the consequences that arise from that. But unfortunately, there are such people, and they have lost contact with reality. They are so absorbed in their games of chess that I think that they don't understand the tremendous stakes that they are playing for and the enormous dangers if what they do goes wrong. But, as somebody who likes to think of himself as rational, at a basic level, I too don't understand it. I mean, why sacrifice the world? Because that's what you're risking for the Donbass. I mean, it seems bizarre, but I mean, there are people who I could come up for any number of articles that talk in this kind of way. I was reading one yesterday in an American magazine about the standoff over the Czech embassy business, which I'm not, we could talk about some other time. But I mean, and the way it was talking and the language it was using was just apocalyptic, very bizarre.
That's one of my impressions too. I mean, if you look around in any kind of politics anymore, it is not explainable anymore with logics. And everywhere you look, if it's corona politics or anything else, it has nothing to do with logics anymore. People around me, friends around me, try to explain these things, try to explain reasons. There is no logic reason. I mean, the common thing about all these politics is that they are not logic anymore. And I certainly, as a Christian, have view about that, because as you said, it's apocalyptic. It's the lust for destruction.
Yeah.
It's the typical old saying in Latin, non serviam.
Yeah. Are you familiar with the poem "The Second Coming" by W.B. Yeats?
No.
Who was also Christian. Well, it's things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, whilst the worst are full of passionate intensity.
Wow. 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 I mean, hearing something like that makes me makes me drop everything.
W.B. Yeats, but not W.B. Yeats. Look it up.
I will look that up.
The Second Coming. It's called The Second Coming.
Yeah. And about, you just mentioned the military of Germany. I mean, I mean, you probably know that, but the problems Germany is dealing with now in military is not buying weaponry, but buying clothing for pregnant women and things like that. So yeah, you can forget about the military in Germany. Anyway, well. One last point, Poland and the Czech Republic, their position against Russia, do you think that's a generational problem or a traditional problem, or do they have any reason, any actual reason to
I mean, there is a historical element. The Czechs historically, by the way, were extremely close and well disposed to Russia. And I mean, this is I was in Prague last year, as it happens, and my impression is that many Czechs still are, actually. So I think this is a little artificial, this particular dispute that's going on at the moment. Poland is different. I mean, the Poles have many reasons to be antagonistic to Russia, and one has to say straight away, sometimes very valid reasons to be hostile to Russia. But they have no actual concerns at the moment. I think that over time, left to themselves, all these countries would sort their problems out. I think the Czechs, the Poles, and the Russians would be perfectly well able to get on with each other if left alone, and they would do so. In Poland, it might take a little while. In the Czech case, I don't think it would take any time at all if they were left alone to do it.
Well, the Western powers will manage to drive them into the arms of Russia.
Yeah, well, eventually, at some point, yes.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed, and hope to talk to you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you
very much. Bye-bye.